What's going on, everybody? This is me, Benjamin Branscombe, coming here today for the first video on my YouTube channel. Today we're doing a race review over the race that just happened in Indianapolis. Literally about 30 minutes ago it wrapped up. Very good race overall, if I say so myself. Actually, the finish was alright. The race itself was just not very good, but we'll get into that. So the race was a big deal. It's the Brickyard. It's one of the biggest races of the season. Everyone's super excited about it. And I wasn't really. The Brickyard's produced somewhat lame results in the past few years. I hoped it would produce good, and this year it was alright. It's been better than previous years, but it was still boring. The racing was you couldn't really pass unless you absolutely ran someone out of the way or got loose, which we saw in the race, but we'll get into. The first two stages were fairly boring. There was a rain delay in the first stage, about 2-hour rain delay, which finally wrapped up. Kyle Busch won the first two stages, doing his typical fashion, dominating the races. And then we got to stage 3, and man, that's where most of the action honestly happened. We had a very wild incident with about 110 of 160 laps complete, in which Martin Truex Jr. was on the inside of Kyle Busch on the restart, and then both cars were in the corner. And for those of you who know, you go on the inside of a corner like that, more than likely you're going to get aero loose and wash up the track. And that's what happened to Truex. He washed up the track, clipped Kyle Busch, both cars out of the race for good. Really big deal. A lot of people were surprised. I mean, I know Kyle Busch came on the radio and he said, yeah, on this restart, we're not playing it safe. We're going to go for it. And I thought it was kind of weird. With about 40 laps to go, you're going to possibly have a chance to blow your race, but that's his little story. But after that, it was an all-nose bar. Matt Kenseth led the majority of the rest of that, and then a couple more cautions came out, and pit stops happened. And pit stops are where it got really interesting. Jimmy Johnson, Brad Keselowski, Kasey Kahne all stayed out and hoping for a caution. Kasey Kahne was the first to pit out of that group, and he got lucky. Right as he left his pit stall, caution comes out for a huge wreck involving Glenn Boyer, Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, Eric Jones was involved in that as well. And it was just a huge wreck on the front stretch, causing the caution. Took a while, about 30 minutes to clean up. Finally, once they got reshuffled and re-racked, everyone came on pit road except for 2 drivers, Ryan Newman and Kasey Kahne. Then it was an all-nose bar race to the finish. But then, more incidents happened. Basically, we had 2 more incidents. And something I want to complain about was not the last restart, but the next to last restart. Kasey Kahne was the lead car on the outside, and then you have the 2-car Brad Keselowski on the inside. And they got to the restart zone, and Kasey Kahne didn't go. He kind of sat there, but he had his back tires picked up by Denny Hamlin, so he couldn't really go. Then Keselowski shoots off, basically, and has a great restart. Then a wreck happens behind them, and the caution comes out. Well, NASCAR decides that Kasey Kahne's not the leader anymore, because he got passed in the restart zone. Brad Keselowski's the leader. And Jeff Burton literally said these exact words on the NBC broadcast. Quote, "The start-finish line does not matter in a restart at all." End quote. That's the dumbest thing I've heard in my life. Every short track across America knows that the start-finish line matters in a restart. Because it's stupid. It's just a stupid rule, and NASCAR needs to look at it, and I don't know. But I can tell you that if Keselowski was to win that race, it would be all nose bar the rest of the year for restarts. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling about that. Basically, we got down to it. We had another wreck, and we had the final restart. And Kasey Kahne just flat out muscled the 2-car out of the way. He just moved out of the way, basically. He set sail down the back stretch, made it to the overtime line. Caution come out for wreck. Kasey Kahne ends a 102 race winless streak. Ends the drought, gets a victory, and this is a big victory for Kahne. Not only because he's in the playoffs, because there's so many rumors that have floated around about him and his career this year. He came out at the beginning of the season and said if he didn't perform in this ride, he doesn't need to be here. Which says a lot, but that's the only thing that's been confirmed said. No one really knows what's going to happen. A lot of people are claiming that Matt Kenseth's going to go to that ride, or William Byron, or someone is going to that ride, and Casey's going to be out. But I think if we've learned something today, it's that Casey's not laying down easy. Casey's not going to lay down and die easily. He's here, and he's ready to go. And now he's in the playoffs, so now he can basically do whatever he wants to get more wins and get more playoff points. It's a big deal for this team. This team has struggled since end of 2014. He got that win in Atlanta in August of 2014, but after that he just struggled as hard as he could. It felt like year after year he was constantly just lagging behind. But now he's stepping up, and that's super great for him, and I'm super pumped for him and what he has going on. I think it's awesome for him to get this win and get the W overall. I'm just super excited for him, though, like I've said 3 or 4 times now. But the restarts do need to be looked at. That was a very bad call by NASCAR, because the wreck happened before the leaders were even close to start-finish line. but Casey lost the lead. But that was a stupid rule. That needs to be looked at by NASCAR. I'm sure they'll look into it. They may not fix it, but they'll look into it. So, but overall, it was better than the previous years at Indianapolis. Indianapolis has been kind of putting out boring races in the past few years, but this one was really good. I really enjoyed it. Sure, I took a nap during the rain delay, but who wouldn't take a nap during a rain delay? It's a rain delay. No one's going to pay attention. But overall, the race was really good. I'd give it about a 7 out of 10, and like a low 7 out of 10. It was a good race. It could have been better. The first two stages were just completely dominated by Kyle Busch, but that's the typical thing with Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. I blanked on his name there for a minute, but that's a typical thing with them. This time is that they dominate, and they're really dominant cars, and that they'll probably be 2 of the 4 cars to go for the championship in Miami unless something happens. But overall, though, it was a good race overall. I really enjoyed it. It was very fun race overall. As always, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this first ever YouTube upload that I've done personally. I forgive the set. It's my room at home, so I forgive that, and I forgive if this is kind of poor. This is my first time really digging into it, so I apologize for that. Feel free to check me out. I'm on SoundCloud. I have a podcast called the BRBcast or the Burbcast. We're still deciding on a name. Feel free to check that out. I'll probably do another race review on there too this coming Friday. Usually upload Fridays and I talk about NHL and NASCAR, of course, and then maybe a few other topics. It depends on if I get questions on Twitter and stuff. But this is a little project I want to start, see how it go, see where it goes, and hopefully it goes well. If not, we can always change it up a bit. But I'm in college, so I just want to try projects to get myself into the water and dip my toes into what editing and stuff like that could be like. Thank you guys so much for checking in. Check out the podcast. Congratulations to Case Kane. Have a great week, everybody.